Hello, hello, hello! Hello, hello, hello. Greetings to you all. How goes it? It's great to see all of you guys. I see you've got a couple of hundred of you waiting in the comment section. Please let me know which city, which town, which state, which planet, which galaxy you are tuning in from, and sound off in the comments. Now, I expect the chat to blow up in a second. There we go. Wales, Canada, Greece, Denver, Barcelona, Serbia, Singapore, Ireland, Texas, Florida, Siberia, Sierra Leone, Valencia, Egypt, Baltimore, Leeds, Narnia. Cheeky. You're very cheeky. Space for Everyone says they're tuning in from Andromeda Galaxy. Well, the name suits you quite well. Peshawar, Pakistan. Beautiful place. Someone is tuning in from Jupiter. Syria. Russia, Iran, Wales, Yugoslavia, Gotham City. You guys get the picture. You get the idea. This is the international audience. The quintessential, international, multicultural, and dare I say, can I gas you guys up? Super intellectual audience. I'm gassing you up, okay? So, guys, please, you got to do me a solid. Please make sure you hit the like button. All it takes is a second, and you already know why. Because when I start my show, I'm going to say some uncomfortable truths. And when the bot or whoever it is that's at Gestapo headquarters is checking out and reading through the transcript of my live stream sees it, they will not be happy. They will not be pleased. And so they will throttle the video, God forbid, yada, yada, yada. You guys know the drill. It's about fighting the algorithm. So let's do it that way. Now, I have a bunch of topics I wanted to get to. And before I do that, it dawned upon me that there must be quite a lot of people Googling or looking up on YouTube right now the Queen's funeral. Yes? Because they would like to watch it live for, whatever reason. And they might be coming... Oh my god. Look at this comment. Yipper says, I am viewing right from the Queen's coffin. You need to chill. We can take a dump on imperialism without... No. Don't. I don't like speaking ill of the dead, but I will speak ill of the crimes of British imperialism. So anyway, going back to my point. If you're new here, my condolences that you wound up on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, because this is the only bloody place you're going to get any independent coverage on international politics. And don't take my word for it. Look at the comment section, ask the people, and see what they say. In any case, let's proceed. Let's begin. So I wanted to start out with the Queen's funeral. Why? Because I just want to get this out of the way. I actually don't really want to talk about it. I just figured, there's a big problem. There's been a real tragedy that, because of this. And I'm not joking. I don't know how to tell you guys. I don't know how to say this. But because of the Queen, because of her funeral, they have closed McDonald's in the UK. This is a tragedy. This is impermissible. It's incorrigible. It's unfathomable. Oh my goodness. Yesterday I was speaking with George Galloway. I was on his show, and we were, discussing the mass hysteria, right? And how what you see on TV isn't necessarily what's happening in real life. Yeah. And by that he meant that, common folk, then you don't have that many people who are actually in the mass hysteria. You have a good chunk. But the point is that they've cancelled football which again, that's a cardinal sin in the UK. And now they've done this. And not just McDonald's, but KFC as well. I mean, it's hit after hit. Look what they've done. This is an atrocity. This is an atrocity. The zoo, right? This is in Edinburgh, right, in Scotland. They've closed the zoo. They've closed schools and nurseries, supermarkets, Tesco Express, Sainsbury's, you name it. The post office, pubs and restaurants. What's going on? This is an apocalypse, man. I really don't know what's going on here. Are these decisions coming from like, small-time pub owners, or just is one, this corporate nonsense that you see? Oh, it's June. Okay, everybody, bring out the pride flags. Let's pretend to give a crap about gay people so we can sell more of our products. Oh, the Queen died. Okay, we're gonna have a minute of silence. Actually, they did. Aldi didn't even close the whole day. They're only closing until 5 p.m. and then reopening. I guess they don't like the Queen that much. I don't know what's going on. This really caught me off guard. Okay, for the first time, I heard people singing the national anthem with King instead of Queen. Not that we should give a crap, but nevertheless, this is what it sounds like. Are you ready? All right, and you know the rest. I prefer the Sex Pistols version, honestly. Oh, Christ. People in Dundee were not as enthusiastic when they said, let's have a minute of silence for the Queen.
Please now observe a minute of silence in her memory, which will start with the referee's whistle, followed by the national anthem.
It sounds like booing to me. If you look at the title, they're singing Lizzie's in a Box. I mean, that's just... I get the feeling they just don't like the Queen, but I might be wrong. I want to show you something. I had the misfortune of watching a split second of the BBC and their live stream, and of course they're all dressed in black, right? Because it's 10 days of mourning, and if you don't do that, then you're a terrible person. Blah 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 blah. Totally not state media, And I clicked randomly on this timestamp, and I want you to listen to what this guy said. Listen.
It's interesting that there's a sort of tension between those two things. Do you think?
Yes, I think that's right. It's clear that in many ways she presided over a period of de-imperialisation, for want of a better word.
It's a good word.
And de-Victorianisation, if you'd like that.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Like, he knows he's full of shit. De-imperialisation, for want of a better word. And then she's like, oh yes, it's a good word. Because I don't know. I'm trying not to cuss at these people. Let me get this straight. The Queen of England presided over de-imperialization. I mean, this sentence is just verbal diarrhea. It should be thrown in the ground and, just discarded for eternity. The Queen of England presided over de-imperialization. What does that even mean? The only reason that there was de-imperialization, if there ever was, if there really was any, I don't agree that you had decolonization, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. The only reason it happened is not because Queen Elizabeth II wanted it to happen. Do you understand? Yeah, there's a big difference between leaving and being kicked out. Yeah. Rebellions, anti-colonial movements. This is the thing with the British Empire. The list is so long. I'm just not even going to bother. And I did bother for the last couple of days. But these people, this is what people watch. This is what people are turning on their televisions. This is the diarrhea that they watch. And they actually believe it. They actually believe this stuff. They think that, you know, she was as head of state. And again, remember what pay attention to what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying Elizabeth. I'm saying the Queen of England, the head of state, right? The monarch. And they're saying that she was doing a favor to all the people that we colonized. Well, what the hell is going on here? I dare not play the rest of the sentence, but I'm going to do that.
That one as well. And part of her skill at managing that was that she never let on that that was what she was doing.
Yes.
And I think that was crucially important.
Hey, man. I'm not Sherlock Holmes, but she never let on that was what she was doing because she wasn't fucking doing it. You understand? I love this, this contradiction that the Queen of England, she's just a figurehead. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't make any decisions. She never expresses her opinion. Oh, heaven. Right? And then at the same time, she's the one who's like, pushing decolonization for, behind the scenes without telling anyone. Because she's so she's so cool. She's like James Bond. You don't see her coming. I'm shocked. I get the impression that I have not understood what these human beings here are saying. I feel like it's another language. What the hell are they saying? Are they high?
As well. And part of her skill at managing that was that she never let on that was what she was doing.
Jesus Christ.
And I think that was crucially important. Yet at the same time as those things were happening, she helped the monarchy adapt. Some thought too slowly, some thought too quickly. I think on the whole she called it right. And I think the recognition that she managed to sustain all of that over 70 years was a very extraordinary achievement. Just as is also the fact that, although we like to think to the contrary, over 70 years she sustained the fact that with very, very few exceptions, we never really knew what she thought about anything.
Wow, so you're a psychic, is that it? So the Queen of England was presiding over de-imperialization without telling anyone, and she's really cool because she never lets on what she's doing, and yet you somehow know what she was doing. This guy is doing like, Olympic level mental gymnastics. I can't. I'm sorry. This is as much BBC as I can watch. Do you see the kind of hysteria that is going on? This poison, this garbage that they feed people. I'm not saying you have to insult her. I'm not saying you should, you don't have to start singing Lizzie's in a box. But what is this whitewashing garbage? What is this? It's so cringy. They're like so desperate to lick her, to kiss her ass, and kiss the monarchy's ass. Why? What? I don't understand this. You know who else showed up? Because everybody showed up, right, to her funeral. Everybody. I saw the French president, Emmanuel Macron, and Biden was there, Joe Biden, and he gave some speech saying that Queen Elizabeth was like like a mother to him or something. I don't know. I really hope I misread that. You had like between 500 and 1,000 foreign dignitaries, right? Which makes sense. That's normal. Well, when I say normal, I mean if it's the UK or the US. So yeah, it depends. It depends how well your PR team whitewashed your image, I guess. But I want to show you who showed up among the ghouls, right? And not everyone's a ghoul, but I think I see Gandalf down there. Isn't that Ian? Hold on, look at this. It's Ian McKinnon down there, right? He's cool. But look who's up here. It's Ursula von der Leyen, sack of poop, our lovely EU commissioner. So she posted on Twitter. I'm going to try and read this in her voice. I was honored to pay my last respects to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Stoic and steadfast, she always reminded us that our future is built on new ideas and founded in our oldest values. May we all continue to find inspiration in the unique legacy she has left us. Do you guys know that the royal family are actually German? I'm not even kidding. And they actually specifically changed their name during World War I to Windsor because of the, how can I put it? People were not too fond of krauts in wartime in England, right? This is the Queen's real name. Saxa Coburg Gotha. Christ, a German name if there ever was one. So they changed it in 1917. This is during World War I, right? That's the real name. And of course, you know how this goes, right? With royal families, they basically, they have intermarriage. You'll have some royal from Spain marrying some royal from, the UK, and then, their children marry their cousins from Belgium, whatever the fuck is happening, and they're all inbred, and, they, that's how they keep the bloodline pure. Very, very stable, these people, aren't they, mentally? So, on top of that, you'll know what Edward did, right, with Hitler? Here's the Duke and the Duchess of Windsor, right? And they had the lovely pleasure of meeting Adolf Hitler. Look how happy they are, right? As if they've encountered Santa Claus at a mall during Christmas time. Look how giddy they are. They're so pleased. Now, keep in mind, this is before the war started. Nevertheless, in 1937, I mean, you could see who the Nazis are, coming a mile away, right? Nuremberg laws were passed in 1935. They're already, they banned Jews from doing virtually anything in German society. They were already rearming, etc., etc., etc. And, this is the royal family, basically, right? Now, I must admit, this guy was sort of like cast out and disowned by the rest of, because he wanted to marry some American pleb, as they would put it, not me, as they would put it, right? Again, this goes back to what I said 2 minutes ago. You have to keep the bloodline pure, or else they'll scold you for it. Not allowed. But I just think it's interesting that we have a man called Charles, who is now apparently the king. I don't recall electing this guy or asking him to be my king. It's a bit weird, right? Like, who made this decision? Even if you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, yeah, Queen Elizabeth was a saint. Okay, whatever. Yeah, sure. Please go ahead, mourn her, etc. Do your thing. Who's this guy? Who is this guy? You guys do know that this is not just like some kind of ceremonial role. There's a lot of money that comes with it. I told you guys the other day, the royal family, they have roughly 28 billion with a B dollars, right? And that's just what we know. So you could, I guess if you wanted to be realistic, it's probably double that. Who knows? Who the hell knows, honestly? And of course, there's something called the sovereign grant in England. Basically, the taxpayers, not only foot their bills, but they have a steady stream of revenue coming in all the time. And then they'll tell you things like, yeah, but look, they have the Duchy of Cornwall. And they'll, these properties bring in their own revenue. And the Queen, she brings in tourists. What kind of an argument is that? She died last week, and how much was she worth? $500 million? You don't make $500 million by bringing in tourists. Okay? That money is dirty as the British Empire itself. You don't get $28 billion It doesn't fall out the sky. You don't get that from bringing in tourists. That is a complete farce, and anyone who believes that needs to get their head examined. Okay, and so this leads me to my my original point, which is that the UK wants to go hand in hand with Uncle Sam, around the world, lecturing other people about democracy, bombing, killing, spying, torturing, whatever it is, sabotaging in the name of democracy. And then we have people like this running around calling themselves kings like it's the 15th century. What lunacy is this? And let me play the clip, huh? Check out his behavior. You're going to like this. Jesus, did you see that? Look at his face. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. His Majesty had to lift a finger and move a pen. Oh, the travesty. This is really the quintessential embodiment of snobbery and arrogance. He's like, can't you see I'm right here? Take this bloody pen, you peasant. What's wrong with you? And then he had another outburst with a pen. Not a day later. Check this out. Oh my goodness. Look how hardworking he is. Oh no. Oh.
13, sir. Oh God, the wrong date.
Oh, you poor thing.
13. Yes, sir. Oh God, I hate this.
Oh, look, it's going over the back. Has anybody got a oh, look, it's
This bloody thing.
This bloody thing. I'm playing it again. Look at him, he's so hardworking, man.
Is it September 12th?
13, sir.
Oh God, the wrong date. 13.
Yes, sir. You saw 12:30.
Oh God, I hate this.
Oh, look, it's going over the back. Has anybody got a
Now, obviously, we're not going to judge him because he doesn't like bad pens. But I feel like there's a sense of entitlement, right? Which comes naturally when you're pampered like that by the taxpayer and you literally do nothing for a living. I mean, this is really shocking. I once again ask myself, what do other countries think when they look at the UK today, right? And they see these pompous parades
Queen's coffin
of completely absurd demigods that no one has elected. I'm really perplexed. I'm really perplexed. Take a look at this. Liz Truss, who's the new Prime Minister, was mistaken for a minor royal by Australian news.
No, hard to identify. Maybe
Oh yeah, you see the subtitles there?
hard to identify. Maybe minor royals, members of the. I can't identify them.
We can't spot everyone, unfortunately. They look like they could well be local dignitaries. It's hard to see. We're looking at the backs of their heads most.
Dude, she's the Prime Minister. I can understand though why they thought she's a royal. It's the pampering, right? It's the VIP package. Anyway, man. Anyway, look. here's a video of the procession, which was, mandatory viewing unless you want to be called a terrible human being. So I'm kind of speechless. I'm kind of speechless. Now, again, military parades and uniforms are one thing, but this whole thing, I really don't know what to do. I feel like it's one thing to mourn Queen Elizabeth, which I'm perplexed why you would do that in the first place, given what she represents, and it's another thing to just immediately rush some guy named Charles and say that he's the king. Says who? Who decided this? What papers is... you saw those things that he was signing? That bloody thing doesn't work, it's leaking. I'd love to know what he was actually signing. I definitely didn't give it to him. I don't think anyone in Britain gave it to him. The real tragedy out of all this is, of course, McDonald's being closed, but we'll get through it. You guys are tough. We got this. Don't worry. And I really hope this is well, it certainly won't be, but let's say I hope for the foreseeable future I won't have to give this this bloody medieval nonsense any more attention, because I think it's so insulting and demeaning, and it's really a circus, it's really a circus. If we had any respect, right, for our institutions, we would not have a monarchy, and we would not have media like this. This is state media if I've ever, if I ever saw one. I want to say that loud and clear. You see in the movies, they make fun of the Koreans, they make fun of the Arabs, they make fun of the Africans, they make fun of everybody and say, ha ha ha, look at them, look how they worship the supreme leader, right? Look how stupid they are, ha 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 ha, the Koreans, look at them, they're all brainwashed. Really? You should have watched BBC coverage the last 10 days. Then fucking talk to me about state TV, man. Christ. The hypocrisy is like on an astronomical level. I'm done. Let's move on to something else. Something that actually the BBC will not cover because, again, they're state media and they're crap. And I think this is a huge topic. I want to ask you guys in the comments, have you been following what's going on in Armenia? Felix in the comments says, we're not done with this bullcrap. There's Charles III's coronation. Hey man, if we don't remind each other, it didn't happen, okay? Or won't happen. Yeah, so I see you guys in the comments. Some of you are saying yes. Some of you are saying no. All right. That's okay, because I'm going to break this down for you. And Valerie says, I haven't seen one word on Armenia. Slindell says yes, but nothing is on mainstream media. Okay, I would say just gauging the comments, it's 50-50. And this is, again, no surprise. Guess what? It has something to do with Ukraine. Not entirely, it's not only about that, but it's connected, as always. And I've been really, really looking forward to breaking this down for you because, not because it's a pleasant subject, but because it carries a lot of weight. It's important. It's complex, but I will make it seamless, in little bite-sized chunks. So let's go. And I see we've got around 700 people watching, but we only have 360 likes. That means half of you have not hit the like button. Please remember, please remember to hit the like button. It really helps the channel to grow, and it helps the video to reach more people. So, I'm hoping there are people right now, they're looking up, for example, they're right now on YouTube looking up Queen Elizabeth funeral, and then they get on this video, and we get to open their eyes. You see what I'm saying? So the more you like the video, the more you comment, the more you interact, the better, and the higher the chance that will happen. By the way, I'm streaming live on Rockfin as well, in case you want to watch there. Rockfin is basically like YouTube, but with cryptocurrency, which admittedly I'm not really well versed in that. For me, what matters to me is that I'm on other platforms. You guys told me to make a Rumble account. I made one. You told me to make an Odyssey account. Done that. And we're on Rockfin as well. And everything I do is free. I think you just have to make an email account with Rockfin and some of them, but it's the same thing. I'm just telling you this so, if anything happens to the channel, God forbid, you will know where to find me. So Claudia is posting the links in the comments. Wonderful. We have a super chat over here, and this is from Loco. It says 99% white male. The underprivileged had no reason to show up or pay tribute. Man, that's the thing, because they make the underprivileged believe that they are privileged to have a monarch. And I want to be very clear once again. I'm not interested in their personalities. I really don't give a shit, what music Queen Elizabeth likes, or what she privately thought about this and that. She's the head of state. She was until last week. But you understand, it's the role, the office, you would say in the United States, the office of the presidency, right? The office is what carries weight, not necessarily the person in it. That's my point. And that's fair game. And like I was saying, it's not just fair game. If you actually believe in democracy, right? Many people in the West say they do, or they think they do. So if you actually believe in democracy, you cannot allow yourself to have a monarchy. And that, once again, I haven't even touched on their crimes overseas. So this just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. No matter how much you tell yourself, she just plays a ceremonial role. It's not ceremonial. No, it's not. Let's assume it is. Which it's not, because you cannot pass a bill in the UK without her signature. And yes, you'll have people say, yeah, but she has never said no. I don't care. Let me be very clear. This is not like in the United States. In the United States, in the UK, the Queen does not actually take a plume with ink and sign the bill. There'll be a separate letter that is signed. Regardless, I'm speaking figuratively. You need royal assent. Yes? You need it. It doesn't work otherwise. Now, whether you consider that ceremonial or not, I don't care really. If it is ceremonial, why is she sitting in a goddamn palace? Who the hell is Charles? Why is this guy being given the monarchy? And why is he being given the keys to Buckingham Palace? Why is his family worth $28 billion? You don't get $28 billion by being honest. You get that by screwing people and knowing Britain's history. It's very ugly. You know where that money came from. Anyway, it's not just about the money. It's not like, that guy's rich, so we have to hate it. No. Listen, that money's dirty. It was stolen. It's plundered. You understand? It comes from colonialism. And you cannot have a democracy with this nonsense. I'm sorry. And you have state media like the BBC brainwashing people to think that this is really a privilege. No, it's not. This is ridiculous. This is like celebrity gossip hysteria. And the only reason that I actually touched on this is because I wanted to highlight the things that happened while Queen Elizabeth, was queen, because she was the longest reigning monarch. So that has to count for something. And that's the only reason I touched on it. And I'm sorry, but when I saw, Frau Ursula von der Leyen attending the funeral today, well, Anyway, let's get on with it. Danielle says, who's this Charles guy? Apparently he's the king. I don't know, but he's the king. So, okay, give me one moment, and we shall get right to it. I'm pulling up the next segment, and oh, you're gonna like this one. Just quick video before we go to the next one. Hold on. I was just talking about lovely Frau Ursula. Here's the EU commissioner bragging about how many billions have been spent on war.
At the figures I see. So, whoa. We have finally, the world has finally pledged 9.1 billion euros through this campaign, and in addition, the Commission working with EBRD adds another billion for the IDPs in Ukraine. This is fantastic. So 10.1 euros, and if you say that in dollars, it's even more. Aisha, high five. Look at the figures I see.
Did you notice what she said at the end? She said, if you say that figure in dollars, it's worth even more. Yeah, you know why? Because you tanked the euro, you goddamn shit for brains Brussels bureaucrat. Well done. Your stinky, corrupt behind is the reason that it would be worth more. I mean, what have you done? What have you done? Actually, let's pause a second. It will be worth less, right? Because the other day, it was 1-to-1. Tomorrow, the euro, 1 euro, might give you 98 cents. I mean, this was not a thing. I don't even remember the last time that, the dollar and the euro were at parity. I don't remember it because it was like 20 years ago. And she, as the EU commissioner, is not solely, but most certainly shares a lot of the blame. And these figures are astronomical. Like, they expect you to pay £3,000, maybe £2,000 extra per year on your energy bills because they want to play sanctions with Russia, right? They think they're very smart. They want you to pay more at the pump when you're filling up your tank. They want you to pay more for basic necessities. Everything costs more. All these currencies have gone down. I mean, she's just laughing about like money being thrown around. Do you understand what I was saying before when I meant that these politicians, they live in a bubble because they're stinking rich and their decisions don't impact them. They impact me, you, the rest of the 99%. If gas is more expensive, guess what? She will just claim expenses because she ain't the one paying it. You are. You pay for all of her shit. You think she notices? Even if she was the one paying, she would have noticed. Let me play that again. Look at this. I swear, this really is like something from a movie.
At the figures I see. So, whoa. We have finally, The world has finally pledged 9.1 billion euros through this campaign, and in addition, the Commission working with EBRD adds another billion for the IDPs in Ukraine. This is fantastic. So 10.1 euros, and if you say that in dollars, it's even more. At the figures I see. So, whoa.
God, she's such a Hillary. Anyway. That's enough of her for today. And actually, crap, I just remembered I'm going to have to mention her again in a bit. God, she's everywhere. She's just going around the world ruining everything. Okay, let's talk about Armenia. So, can you see that? That's what's happened, okay? This is where we are at. So you have 200 Armenians now that have been killed by Azerbaijan. Again, I'll show you the headline. And this situation is really, really volatile. They've started fighting again at Nagorno-Karabakh, and what I'm about to tell you is extremely important, because this is not just about Azerbaijan and Armenia. There is a reason that Nancy Pelosi just paid a visit to Armenia, because what's happening there, this situation has a lot to do with the Ukraine war, the energy crisis, NATO. All of it is connected right now. Now, let me be clear. This conflict, because each side is claiming this region. I'll pull it up on the map for you. This is not new. This didn't start now. This goes back many, many, many decades. Okay, so the Armenians say it belongs to them, and the Azeris say it's theirs. It's this region over here in black. Okay, mountainous terrain. Now the thing is, the people who live here are Armenians. 95% of them speak Armenian. Okay? Azerbaijan is heavily backed by Turkey, and when I say heavily backed, I mean there's a phrase that I heard that Azerbaijan and Turkey are one nation and two states. You understand? One nation with two states. Like, that's how close, that's how similar they are, because Turkic people, right? They're Turkic people, and they have very, very strong ties to each other. And just look at the map. I mean, once again, they're right next door to each other. So here's Turkey and here's Azerbaijan. Now, during World War I, Turkey massacred and killed 1.5 million Armenians, right? And they continue to deny that to this day. And that's actually one of the reasons why the European Union refuses to accept their membership, because they continue to deny this genocide. You know, the word genocide was actually coined specifically to describe what the Turks did to the Armenians in 1915. Specifically for this massacre, right? And they killed Armenian men, women, children. They raped them. They killed them in the church. My great-great-grandmother was orphaned. She came to Lebanon and Syria as an orphaned child because her parents were massacred by the Ottomans, by the Turks. Every single Armenian family in the world has their own story of how they ended up in America, how they ended up in Syria, how they ended up in Iran. They uprooted literally millions of people and killed 1.5 million. And then, of course, it doesn't end there, because the genocide took place in 1915. And only 5 years later, Turkey took 2/3 of Armenian territory. 2/3. So I just want you to understand how over the years, Armenia has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk because of this aggression. You can see in pink, that's historic Armenia, okay? Now, the first Armenian Republic, so this is, we're talking from 1918 to 1920. I don't know if you can see the outline in green. I'm going to go here with my cursor. This is the first Armenian Republic. Today, Armenia is only this thing in brown, in dark brown. Do you see how much it's shrunk? So, you have Turkey, which completely robbed Armenians of their lives, of their land, and continue to deny it, adding insult to injury to this day. And now that's not enough. Azerbaijan is trying to take more land from Armenia. Now, internationally, this region of hold on, let me pull up the first map that I had. So when we talk about Nagorno-Karabakh, it's not recognized as Armenian by most countries, okay? But nevertheless, you still have Armenians being massacred with support from Turkey in 2022, and then in 2 years ago as well, you had another war. It's really, it's horrendous. It's horrendous. And guess what? It's not just Turkey that is backing Azerbaijan. It's Israel. Yeah, it turns out Israel was arming Azerbaijan in 2020 when they were killing Armenians. With drones, with all sorts of other armaments and payloads. The Israelis, they try to, they have an inferiority complex, right? They want to be accepted, so they try to appear cool and say, "Oh, look, we have this high tech, blah blah blah," and oh, we export all of these arms, etc., etc. But why does Israel do this? Is it really just about money? No, it's not just about making weapons sales. The real reason Israel does this is because they want a base of operations in Iran's back door, right? I mean, if you just let me pull up a map of Iran on Google Maps. And look how close, just look how close Azerbaijan is. Tehran, which is the Iranian capital, is here. And Baku in Azerbaijan right here. I mean, they're right opposite each other. So the Israelis, by selling arms to Azerbaijan, this opens up a lot of opportunities, right? Maybe potential bases, advisors. It brings them closer, right? And that's always been the goal of the Americans and the Israelis. It's just basically to surround Iran, to contain Iran, if you want to use the Cold War terminology. And inside Armenia, you had in 2021 a new prime minister who got elected, right? Pashinyan. And in so many words, he basically wanted to westernize Armenia, or shall we say, tilt Armenia westward, okay? Because if you look at Armenia's geography, during the Cold War, it was a satellite state for the Soviet Union. It was part of the Soviet Union. Armenia's, again, I'm showing you the mouse down here. Here's Armenia, and it's right in Russia's back door. It was part of the Soviet Union, and this is controversial when you're trying to suddenly basically tell the Russians, goodbye, we're going over there. How do you think the Russians are going to feel? You can look at Ukraine. Obviously, Ukraine is a different beast, shall we say? But you understand that if you're in Moscow, that will make you uneasy. What does that mean? Like you're going westward, or you have projects and ideas in mind with the West. Could mean anything, right? That could lead to anything. And so another thing you should keep in mind that today the Warsaw Pact doesn't exist anymore, right? So in the Cold War, you had NATO. I don't know why NATO still exists, but it does. Apparently, the Soviet Union is somewhere. And the Soviets, they had the Warsaw Pact, right? Now, Armenia was not in it, but today there's something that people dub, colloquially speaking, they dub it like the successor of the Warsaw Pact. It's CSTO, right? So Collective Security Treaty Organization. And you have Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Russia, of course, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, right? So that's why, again, it's controversial to have Armenia looking that way. And when Pashinyan called Putin, he got snubbed. Putin told him, I'm busy, I will call you back. Something along those lines. That's humiliating. I mean, even if pick any country. Let's say the president of let's say the Canadian Prime Minister called Putin, whoever it is. It's very rude, right? It's basically, I'm translating politics to plain English. It means piss off, right? That's what it means in diplomacy. And for him to say that to the Prime Minister of Armenia, who's like basically next door, and who was part of the Soviet Union, I mean that's really giving the cold shoulder. In the end, Russia did come in, and since 2020, you've had Russian soldiers basically serving as de facto peacekeepers. When I say peacekeepers, I don't actually mean United Nations peacekeepers. There's no official mandate, or shall we say mission of that size, but nevertheless, right? Until a few days ago, they were more or less keeping the peace in Nagorno-Karabakh, okay? And then, of course, this happened. The fighting broke out again between Armenia-Azerbaijan, and as I showed you in the headline, 200 killed among the Armenians. And, this is multifaceted. The reason the Russians actually came in and, to stop the violence and be the peacemakers is not just because they're dying to set up a mission there. You have to think about the resources, okay? Now we get to the crux of the issue. Azerbaijan has a lot of gas, right? Not as much as Russia, but it still has gas. I'll show you the pipelines here on screen, okay? Now, if the Russians had just let the war continue and let Azerbaijan, who were making great strides, take control of Nagorno-Karabakh, what do you think that they will be able to do then? Because if you look at this map, I mean, it's very obvious that the Azeris are literally bending. they're going around Armenia. Armenia is apparently, in the way. It's an inconvenience, right? And so if they had continued to advance, who knows what that could lead to? Now, Russia obviously does not want Azerbaijan coming in and undercutting its sales. And again, I'm not saying that they have the same amount of gas as the Russians. No one does, really. Russia's number one in terms of proven natural gas reserves, and then it's Iran. And again, the gap is quite big, but still, it doesn't matter about the amount is not the issue at hand here. It's the geostrategic advantage that this would give Azerbaijan. Russia doesn't want countries around it on its borders or in the neighborhood being absorbed, so to speak, by the West, and they don't want countries around them taking their business. Do you understand? So we are now in 2022. We're in September. We have fighting breaking out again between Azerbaijan and Armenia. What else do we have? We have Europe. We have an entire continent that needs gas. And what happened in July? what happened in July? Here is Ursula von der Leyen, the EU commissioner. And what is she doing here? She's in Baku, and she's signing a memorandum of understanding and basically putting things in motion for Azerbaijan to start providing gas to Europe. You guys know, Joe Biden, in order to, calm global oil prices, went to Saudi Arabia to beg for oil and went to Venezuela to beg for oil. And the Europeans, what have they been doing? Emmanuel Macron went to Algeria to beg for gas, right? So you have all these dignitaries, although there's nothing dignifying about them, scrambling across the world, scurrying off to try and find alternatives because they shot themselves in the foot. There is, realistically speaking, no one who can replace Nord Stream 1. And just generally speaking, we also have the Yamal pipeline. The amount of gas that Russia was giving to Europe, which this gas upon which Europe depended and still depends so heavily. It's difficult. I look at these people like Ursula. I look at these hotheads, who are so quick to just ban this and ban that because it has a Russian written on it. And I think to myself, are they capable of just thinking one day in advance, one day ahead? So Azerbaijan wants to give Europe gas. Well, now let me show you this. This is September 12th. I told you they signed that in July. We're now in September, right? This is from September 12th. Azerbaijan is saying it's going to increase gas exports to Europe this year by 30%. So even more gas. And now you understand partially why Nancy Pelosi is in Armenia, right? And I just want to show you very quickly when she arrived. Here's what she had to say as well. She was laying wreaths and flowers and apparently crying. I don't know if she is. I can't make out for sure if she is, but
the assault on the... We planned this trip before the assault on the sovereignty, the border of Armenia took place. So again, when we leave home, it's always about security. Our mutual security, regional security, global security. Our meeting, again, had a particular importance to us because of the focus on security following the illegal and deadly attacks on us by the Azerbaijan on the Armenian territory. We strongly condemn those attacks, we in our delegation and on behalf of Congress, which threatens prospects for much-needed peace agreement. We planned this.
Now, hey, man, I'm listening to her when she's saying these things, and I'm thinking that sounds very reasonable, especially coming from Nancy Pelosi. But she doesn't care about Armenia. You have to understand something, man. When you're the House Speaker of the United States Congress, you don't just randomly stop by the countries because, you want to take a quick tour around the Capitol, right? You go there because it's in your vested interest to do so. And keep in mind, I said it's in her vested interest, okay? Not yours, not her constituents. I think the reason that Nancy Pelosi is there is because they want to make sure that the Armenian Prime Minister continues turning towards the West. Let me phrase that another way. They're trying to drive a wedge between Russia and Armenia. Do you understand? That's what this is about. Nancy Pelosi does not make house calls without a catch, okay? Because again, what she said here, like if you take it at face value, is great. Yes, she's condemning the brutality against Armenians. Thank you very much. But why are you here? There's a catch. There's always a catch. especially with her. And I want to show you, just going back to these pipelines from Azerbaijan. The one that will provide gas to Europe is the, I don't know if you can see that blue. So if we look at the legend here in the bottom left, I'm talking about the last one, okay? So this is the Southern Gas Corridor, right? That's the one that's going to go from through Erzurum. Well, actually, first from Baku, Tbilisi, Erzurum, and then, through Turkey into Europe. Now, obviously, they're not going to be able to provide the same amount that Russia was, but nevertheless, there's a lot of money to be made. And, you even saw Israel, because we were speaking about Israel's strategic gains of dealing with Azerbaijan, and how it puts them close to Iran. And when I say close to Iran, I don't mean in a friendly way. I mean in close proximity, so they can spy on them, attack them, etc. Israel was even trying to get a piece of the pie, right? Israel saw the chance. Europe needs gas? Send the ship and let us extract the Karish gas fields. Screw Lebanon. And Hezbollah told them, if you extract any gas, we will blow your goddamn ship up, right? And then thankfully, things, went back to diplomacy, because the last thing we need is a second, third, 15th war. I don't know. Really, now I'm losing, I lost count. I want to just show you, just to give you an idea of the relationship between Israel and Azerbaijan. So this article is from the Jerusalem Post, and this was published last year in 2021. But the point still stands. So there's a report on Channel 12, and it was from SIPRI. They basically issued an international arms sales report, and the aggregate during the last 5 years, so this is from 2021, going back 5 years, Israel was the source of 69% of Azerbaijan's arms import. So that's not, Netanyahu sold Azerbaijan a couple of Uzis. No. We are talking, obviously they're not going to give them their best stuff, but we're talking about a lot of money here, and, a lot of advantage for Israel down the road, down the line, because once again, look at the map. I mean, we don't know the full terms of these, arm deals. Israel could very, very easily, just as well, be telling Azerbaijan, we will only give you these weapons if you let us put a forward operating base or a Mossad station right around here near Iran. Right? Given the fact that Israel has assassinated, an Iranian nuclear scientist in November 2020, so Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, they've assassinated several more of them between 2010 and 2012. There isn't a year that goes by without them blowing up or sabotaging an Iranian nuclear facility. Yeah, they care about this stuff, and this provides them with a very, very lucrative and important hand in terms of geopolitics. Now, I want to play you a clip. This is from the European Parliament, and I think you're going to get a kick out of this.
Sehr geehrte Frau von der Leyen, mit Karl Kraus zu sprechen, mir fällt zum Zustand der EU nichts ein. Um uns von einem Gaslieferanten zu lösen, der einen brutalen Angriffskrieg führt, Putin, haben Sie uns einen gesucht, der einen brutalen Angriffskrieg führt, Aliyev. Auch wenn viele deutsche Medien schweigen, derzeit überfällt die Öldiktatur, die zum vertrauenswürdigen Partner erklärt wurde von Ihnen, das demokratische Armenien. Respekt für diese Wahl. Immerhin liegt unser neuer bester Kumpel Aserbaidschan in Sachen Demokratie Presse und bürgerliche Freiheiten noch weit hinter Russland. Nur bei der Bestechung korrupter CDU-Honks ist Aliyev ganz vorn. Als Sie Ihren Dienst hier antraten, dachte ich, Sie seien lediglich unfähig und ein bisschen kriminell. Inzwischen weiß ich, dass Sie auch beeindruckend moralfrei sind. An den Außengrenzen sterben täglich Flüchtlinge, Frackinggas und Atomkraft sind auf einmal nachhaltig und Sie löschen routiniert Ihre SMS zu den Milliardenzahlungen an Pfizer. Mir fällt zur EU nichts mehr ein, außer wir sollten Europa nicht den Laien überlassen.
Wow. Dude. He destroyed her. He completely eviscerated her. It's funny how that works, right? Oh, we can't buy Russian gas because of this, violation of Ukraine's sovereignty, this war of aggression by Russia. But, we can buy Azerbaijani gas because we don't really care if they attack Armenia or, that's whatever. And we'll buy Israeli gas too because we don't care either if they attack Syria. Those kinds of attacks, they suit us. They suit our geopolitical agenda because we want Syria to be attacked. And we like when Israel attacks Syria. Hell yeah, we're buying the gas because that's what the European Union is, right? That's what the West is. They don't mind wars, right? They don't mind crimes of aggression. They don't mind invasions as long as they're the right ones. Here's another clip from the European Parliament. This one does not have subtitles, but I'll translate.
Madame la Présidente, chers collègues, cette nuit, peu après minuit, l'Azerbaïdjan a lancé une attaque.
So he's talking about Azerbaijan attacking Armenia and so on.
Il s'en prend au territoire même de la République d'Arménie. Nous avons soutenu, chers collègues, sans hésiter, le peuple ukrainien lorsqu'il a été attaqué par la Russie.
Said, we supported the Ukrainian people when they were attacked by Russia unequivocally.
Nous devons dénoncer avec une voix aussi claire l'agression criminelle lancée cette nuit par le régime de M. Aliyev.
We should equally, all of us, denounce this crime of aggression against Armenia by the Azerbaijanis.
Madame la Présidente, nous vous demandons de porter la voix de notre Parlement dans cette situation d'urgence. Notre position déterminée peut empêcher cette guerre et peut arrêter l'Azerbaïdjan dans le projet qu'il prépare. Arrêtons enfin de traiter cet État criminel comme un partenaire légitime et de financer ses menaces en lui achetant du gaz. Prenons...
He said, we ask you to adopt this, to adopt our position because this body actually taking a stand would mean something, and we should not be treating this criminal as a business partner and buying his gas.
Rapidement des mesures pour préparer des sanctions qui soient efficaces. Exigeons immédiatement une réunion du Conseil de sécurité des Nations.
We should immediately impose sanctions on Azerbaijan and summon basically invoke an emergency session of the UN Security Council.
Nations Unies. Nous le devons à la sécurité de notre continent, qui sera directement mise en danger par ce nouveau conflit, mais nous le devons surtout au peuple arménien avec lequel nous vivons de tout cœur ces heures de deuil et d'angoisse.
We should do this because it's good for the security of our continent, right? Our European continent, but most of all because it's imperative for the Armenian people with whom we live. By the way, you guys, of course, know System of a Down are Armenian American. Charles Aznavour, who's one of the most famous French singers of all time. Charles Aznavour, Armenian, right? So I just wanted to say that quickly, right? A little bit of Armenian pride. But I just want to, again, look at this map with you. Is this heartbreaking? Turkey stole 2/3 of Armenia's land in 1920. That like, if there was ever a bloodier example of adding insult to injury, you commit genocide and then steal the country on top of it, like literally 2/3 of the land. I saw this yesterday on Twitter. This is an elected Turkish politician, an elected Turkish official, and this is what he posted yesterday on Twitter. He said that we say to the Armenian administration, make up your mind. I remind you once again that the Turkish nation has the power to erase Armenia from history and geography, and that they stand at the limit of our patience. Do I need to read that again to you? This guy is literally threatening genocide on Twitter, a second genocide, right? Like, it wasn't enough killing 1.5 million Armenians. He's still hot. He's still ready to go. I mean, this is, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Like, this is real. This is a real post. Like, I confirm this. Unfortunately, this is an actual Turkish politician, and he actually posted this. I don't know if it's still up there. I'm assuming a lot of people reported it, but that's besides the point. It was there. I saw it and confirmed it, and he actually wrote that, and I cannot believe my eyes. I mean, it's never ending. It's never ending, really. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's okay to invade countries if you are invading someone the West doesn't like. It's okay to kill people as long as, you know, the West doesn't like them too, or doesn't care about them either. That's fine, right? Everything is okay. Weapons of mass destruction are okay in Iraq as long as they're used against Iran, all right? Gas from Azerbaijan is okay. Gas from Israel is okay. Whatever. They kill people. Who cares? The hypocrisy reigns supreme. Voilà, mesdames et messieurs. This is the West. This is how the European Union operates. This is how Western politicians operate. They are disgusting hypocrites of the highest order. I want to add one more thing, by the way, because I'm looking at the again, in case you haven't noticed, I love maps. I'm looking at the map over here, and you know, the Turkish map. Like we were saying, not only did they steal most of Armenia, but on top of it, there's right now Antakya. You see down here, like, this belongs to Syria. This is Syrian. The people there speak Arabic. And, you know, again, who gave it to them? I don't know. Some diplomats from, you know, of course, we're talking about the British and the French, right? Who decided to carve up the Middle East like it's a cake or something, and just give it out to, you know, hand it out to their friends like it's a birthday party. And right now, Turkey, of course, is occupying northern Syria. Not all of it, but we're talking mostly Idlib. So over here, they either have their own soldiers from their own army, or terrorist groups that they support, also known as proxies. And again, Turkey is a NATO member. Keep that in mind. You have a NATO army inside Syria, and it's not enough, right? It's not enough they have Antakya. It's not enough that they're inside Idlib. Erdogan wants to take another chunk of Syria. He says he wants to go in 30 kilometers deep and take more of Syria. I can guarantee you he's not giving it back. I don't think he has any intention of giving it back. And one more thing I would also add to prove my point. If you look, again, down here in Idlib, this is Syria. Guess what? They don't use Syrian pounds anymore there. They use Turkish lira. The currency has changed. In case you thought that this is temporary. Oh no, they taking over, man. This is, I want to say it's unfortunate, but that's an understatement. Anyway, so a little bit of history what is that? A little bit. Everything, man. Every segment is full of history. We need it. We can't understand the world around us without it. Here, let me show you something that you're gonna cringe at. I mean, just more free speech, you know, more European democracy. Oh my God. You're going to love this. German broadcaster Deutsche Welle adopts commitment to Israel in code of conduct. So Germany's international broadcaster Deutsche Welle has adopted a new code of conduct which threatens staff with dismissal if they question Israel's right to exist. Israel is mentioned twice when referring to the company's commitments against racism and anti-Semitism. No other country, political or national group is mentioned in the same way as the apartheid state. In its code of conduct, Deutsche Welle says that it stands for, quote, freedom, democracy, and human rights, unquote, which it describes as being cornerstones of our journalistic and development message and profile. I mean, they didn't need to put it in writing. I personally know a couple of people who were literally fired from their jobs over there just for, you know, being Palestinian and having the wrong opinion. So their idea of like being a good Palestinian is that you shut your mouth and you accept what Israel does to you, right? Like, it's okay for you not to have a country. It's okay for you not to have a state. It's okay for you not to be a full member at the UN. But if you fucking question Israel's right to exist on your land, we'll fire you. Get the fuck out. Apparently, the one with the nuclear weapons is the victim here. Oh my God. I want to continue here. This is what Deutsche Welle writes. Deutsche Welle says that, quote, due to Germany's history, we have a special obligation towards Israel. Germany's historical responsibility for the Holocaust is also a reason for which we support the right of Israel to exist. And you know, when I read that, I was like, they have a really good point. Okay. Let's all get together and support Israel's right to exist in Germany. You can have Israel exist in Hamburg or Munich or Frankfurt or wherever the fuck you want, since you're the ones who killed, 6 million Jews. Syrians did not kill 6 million Jews. Palestinians did not kill 6 million Jews. You fucking did that shit. You give them your land. You give them Hamburg. You give them fucking Munich. After all, you're the one who committed genocide. What is this logic? Like, oh, we feel really bad. You can have that go over there, take that land that does not belong to us. That's so British of you. That's so colonial of you. It's so European of you. How generous. How generous of you. Wow. I'm starting to get the hang of this, I'm starting to, it has a nice ring to it. We support Israel's right to exist in Germany. In Germany. If you go to Germany illegally without a visa, you know what happens? They arrest you and they deport you. But apparently, if you go to Palestine, and you say that you're special, you can just fucking kill Palestinians, take their homes, bulldoze other homes, put some of them in jail, treat them like third-rate, fourth-rate citizens. Wow. So, Palestinians, they just have to tolerate that, and if they open their mouths, you fire them. Very, very freedom of speech of you, right? This is their idea of democracy, right? It's like, you can say things that we like, and anything else is verboten. Really disgusting, honestly. Really disgusting. So disgusting. I think it's incredible that European countries like the United Kingdom, Germany, who have a long history of anti-Semitism, like of actually persecuting Jews, want to lecture Palestinians, want to lecture Arabs about anti-Semitism. And then on top of it, give away Arab land or Palestinian land, as if it's theirs to give away in the first place. Wow. This is, this is really the epitome of free speech in the West. I think this is, again, a very strong example of how when people come and say, well, Germany's not perfect, Europe is not perfect, America's not perfect, the West is not perfect, but at least we have we have freedom of speech, we have free press. No, you don't. You literally do not have a free press at all. You do not have one. Or, you think you might have one, but you don't. You don't. This is pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. This is nothing to do with combating racism at all. At all. Again, if Germany has guilt, yeah. Obviously, with what happened, there should be some guilt. And to Germany's credit, the people there and their education system, unlike some of the other countries who participated in the Holocaust with them, the Germans understand that they did some really bad things and that this was wrong, and they teach them this in school. The problem is, though, that when you look at the Palestinian situation, they think the Palestinians are the aggressors. So I'm asking myself, have they learned anything? It's not enough that they don't have a state. They make the victim look like the bully and the bully look like the victim. It's really the whole world upside down. And again, it's not a German thing. It's a Western thing, I would say, right? Because, it's really the British who encouraged Zionism with the Balfour Declaration and so on. And, I've gone through this a million times with you guys. But I wanted to just show you again how there is no free press in the West. That is a joke. They try to veil it and mask it by saying that it's about combating racism. It's not. It's about shutting people up who are making valid criticisms about a political ideology, right? Zionism is a political ideology that's barely 150 years old. Nothing to do. Joe Biden himself said, "I'm a Zionist." Joe Biden is not Jewish. He's Christian, or so he says. And he says, "I'm a proud Zionist." You remember that clip? It's an old clip from, 20, 30 years ago, whatever. He certainly is to this day. If you go and ask him right now, he'd say, "Yes, I'm a Zionist." You have in the United States Christian Zionists, right? This is a political ideology. It's a political movement. And the problem with it is that it comes at the expense of someone else's human rights, their dignity, their home, their land, and it's the Palestinians, most of all. Syria also has a big, the Golan Heights is not the biggest chunk of land, but it has valuable resources. It's Syria. It belongs to Syria, right? They talk all the time about sovereignty, Ukraine sovereignty, but when Israel is violating Syria's sovereignty, they don't seem to care. But my point is that you have many people that are suffering at the expense of Zionism, and they don't care about their human rights. You're Palestinian, you don't have human rights as far as the West is concerned. And let me just read you the last bit. Guess what? When Deutsche Welle fired several Palestinian journalists for old social media posts, which they in Deutsche Welle said were anti-Semitic, the court looked at that and said, no, nothing about this is anti-Semitic. These journalists, these Palestinian journalists, have not said anything anti-Semitic. You were wrong to fire them. You violated labor laws, and court case is still ongoing. But keep that in mind. So Deutsche Welle are not only completely wrong in in their stated premises, but also afterwards in court, again, legally also proven wrong. I want to go to what's happening in Chile, because we were talking about Israel. So let's move on to Chile because it's related. Okay, so one moment. Let me explain to you what happened in Chile. The Israeli ambassador was basically snubbed because the Israelis killed a Palestinian boy, and Chile were like, you know what? We don't want your credentials. So the Chilean ministry said in a statement early Saturday that the postponement should be understood as a response within the framework of the political sensitivity generated by the death of a Palestinian teenager. Okay? So basically, they're being very clear that, yeah, we are refusing to accept the Israeli ambassador's credentials because you guys killed a Palestinian boy. It is related. We don't want you sending an Israeli ambassador to our country if that's how you behave towards Palestinians. And that's not something you see every day, right? That's not something you see every day. This is, of course, very embarrassing for the Israelis, right? And so they summoned the ambassador, the Chilean ambassador, in response. This is how it always goes, right? Tit for tat. Right. But the Israelis, let me explain something, man. The Israelis, they really crave legitimacy. They want to be accepted as, a real country, to hide the fact that actually they're colonizing Palestinian land. And it was always at the expense of someone else, right? And they want to be seen as, oh, we have the best arms. Look how many weapons we sell. How many Uzis and Desert Eagles and drones and all the nice things we're giving to Azerbaijan. Oh, look, we have Pegasus. Oh, look at all these cyber warfare companies that we have with all these people that are going out from the tech units straight into the private sector. They're the best in the world. They want this prestige. They seek it so desperately, which is why I explained to you guys that the Arab countries like Bahrain, like UAE, when they gave Israel, they basically normalized ties with Israel. They gave up the only thing that they had. They gave up the only leverage that they had, which was to refuse to recognize Israel, to deny Israel legitimacy. Because that is the one thing that Israel seeks the most, right? And you have in Chile, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, roughly 1 million Palestinians because of the diaspora, right? Now, when you colonize someone's country, the way that the Israeli settlers came and colonized Palestine, many Palestinians went to Jordan, they went to Syria, they went to Lebanon. They fled because they were kicked out of their homes. You have towns, villages completely wiped out. But not only in the surrounding areas, not only in the surrounding countries, but also you have a big diaspora in South America. You also, in Argentina, you had a Syrian diaspora. But again, when we say that the president is refusing is refusing to meet with the Israeli ambassador and take his credentials, that counts for something. And this is what happens when you have people with balls and principles. And usually you'll see this kind of stuff from the left, right? And after all, Gabriel Boric, he's from the left. And countries, let me give you another example. Venezuela, for example, broke off ties with Israel, if I'm not mistaken. They're at least certainly rocky, right, to put it mildly. And once again, when you take away their legitimacy, they go nuts. They hate it. There's an Israeli official who said that if Syria had accepted to normalize ties with Israel, that Syria would not be in its current state. What does that mean? Let me translate. He's saying that if Syria had just shut the fuck up and accepted Israel's existence, even as Israel is occupying Syria's Golan Heights, then the quote-unquote civil war and the airstrikes that Israel launches every week against Syria, and the Americans in the northeast taking the oil in Hasakeh and Deir ez-Zor, and all of this would not be happening. That's what I understood. I don't know what else he could possibly mean. Syria would not be in the current state it's in. What state is he referring to? The fucking war, obviously. What else? So, I'm surprised they didn't call the Chilean president anti-Semitic already. When Joe Biden went to meet with the Israelis after they killed Shireen Abu Akleh, who is not just Palestinian, but an American citizen, right? Al Jazeera journalist doing her job, clearly marked press. This is the kind of shit that you do. You behave like this, right? You don't go to the Israelis and act like they did not murder one of your own citizens. A journalist who ironically was covering Israeli raids. If the Israelis were not raiding Jenin, she wouldn't even have been there. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, when I'm talking about diplomacy, I'm talking about how you interact with other, entities, let's say, right, in this case. If Joe Biden had any self-respect, if he really was a president for all Americans, including Shireen, he would never have gone there and acted like it's like, you stepped on an ant or something. I mean, that's the kind of value that he seems to attribute to one of his own citizens. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Like the Chileans care more about Palestinians than Joe Biden does about his own fellow countrymen, or I should say in this case, country women. Right? Just for contrast, just for comparison's sake. And this is why the United States does not like left-wing governments in Latin America. It's not the only reason. It's one of many reasons, because then they start doing stuff like this, right? And the Israeli lobby, the Zionist lobby, they sure as hell don't like that. So, you guys owe me a break. I need to get something to drink, but don't go anywhere. Please make sure you've hit the like button, because we're going to continue in just 1 minute. And actually, wait, before I go, you guys have sent some super chats, so let me just read your donations or comments or whatever. Give me 1 second. It's refreshing. We've got... Man, I can't even read them. There are too many. I'm literally drowning in emails from you guys. You're very kind. But let me start with YouTube first, okay? There's someone with a name in Cyrillic, and I apologize. I can't. I can't read the letters, so forgive me. But they said, Richard, while we speak about Israel, can you please share what was the original intent and logic behind creating an Israeli state? If I know correctly, the Soviet Union support Israel state against the UK. Thank you. I don't know if they did it against the UK, but I know the Soviet Union was the first country to recognize Israel. Well, I was having a discussion once with Asa Winstanley, and this is the irony here. Listen, pay attention to what I'm going to say here. The British ruling class, and when I'm talking about early 20th century, I'm talking about people like Winston Churchill. They were racist, right? People, they adore him because he was a good wartime prime minister and he rallied the nation. Yeah, okay, fine, that's one thing. Winston Churchill did not live just from 1939 to 1945. Right? You have to look at the things before and after. And when I had this conversation with Asa Winstanley, it's here on the channel. The irony is that the British, one of the reasons the ruling class wanted to create Israel is because they were anti-Semitic and did not want the Jews in Britain. And then this is a mind-bending thing, that if you then oppose that, then you're into I don't even know what to say. And I think it's important to highlight this because this British Eton schoolboy ruling class, a lot of them disgustingly racist. I mean, let's take for example what Churchill said about Indians, right? He said something would breed like rabbits. I don't remember the full quote, but just disgustingly racist. And I'm speaking not just about him, but in general. They were actually anti-Semitic and did not want Jews in Britain. That is like actual anti-Semitism. I really, speaking of which, I don't understand people who say like, oh yeah, Churchill was a great wartime prime minister, and then they like conveniently block out and bury their heads in the sand when someone brings up the Bengal famine or the racist shit that he said. You're gonna act like that wasn't him or what? Mo says US is basically indirectly saying, quote, we will allow our attack dog, Azerbaijan, to do this until you bend the knee and show a bit more proper loyalty. They have many attack dogs, right? Mad dogs, attack dogs, I've heard many different descriptions. Take your pick. Is it Saudi Arabia? Is it Israel? Who knows? The menu changes every day. Le plat du jour. Mahmoud says Israel gets oil from Azerbaijan. I wouldn't be surprised. And now that you mention it, yeah. Again, it's now. For me, what's so disgusting is that we're in 2022. Not that it was okay in 1915, obviously, but like it's more than 100 years later. No one seems to give a shit that you still have Armenians being killed. That the country has been violated and shrunk down. It's heartbreaking, The Armenian genocide is really huge topic, huge important topic, and I want to say something that I said earlier. I want to repeat the word genocide. The term genocide was coined specifically to describe what happened to the Armenians, to describe the Armenian genocide, which should show you that it is, how bad it was, give you an idea. And I think if I were to describe to you just a few of the atrocities, then YouTube would definitely not like that and do something. I hope not, but that's the problem. I'm like, I need to tell you so you understand, and I'm like, well, what are they going to do to the video now? Like, are they going to not give anyone notifications and then they don't even get to see it? I hate this algorithm bullshit playing games. It's really like basically forcing people to self-censor, even when discussing history, or discussing what's happening now. This is crazy, Mahmoud says, Ursula's underwear is made of dead puppies. She seems that evil. You might be right. Corn Pop says, what do you think about MAGA communism? I don't want to know. I don't know what that means, and I'm not sure I want to know. I'm not sure what that means. I'm still trying to digest it. I appreciate the joke, so rather forgive it. I appreciate you giving me laughs. So guys, we've got some donations also here. Someone sent in someone joined on Patreon, so I will play them a crab dance just after the break. We'll be right back. I just need to get something to drink. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot more to discuss, and you don't want to miss it. In the last couple of months, you've seen them sanction Russia, and what has that done? It's driven the value of the ruble up. The euro and the dollar are down. Russia has made even more money than it was making before because the Europeans are still buying the oil. The rest of the world is still buying the oil, and the price of oil and the price of gas have gone up. So even if Russia's selling less oil and less gas, the fact that the price has gone up means that Russia's making more, there's more revenue, okay? So they've come up with a new plan. This is their new brilliant plan. The crude cap applying from December 5th, and the refined products to follow from February 5th, 2023. If you want to go and move Russian oil, you need to get a ship, and you need to get that ship and the cargo insured. The idea is that they will refuse to move your Russian oil unless you bought it at a price per barrel that is below this threshold. I can already tell you one thing, the Chinese are never going to go along with this price cap. A price cap on Russian oil without the price of oil skyrocketing. It's just not happening, man. The EU now wants to replace Russian gas with Israeli gas, right? There's nothing better than some stolen Lebanese gas. And the Israelis are trying their best to block the nuclear deal because, you know, if sanctions are lifted on Iran, Iran is free to sell its oil and gas. Remember, Iran has the biggest gas reserves in the world after Russia. And what do the Israelis do? They straight up just send a giant ship to start extracting the gas. I mean, this thing is a behemoth. You know, Nasrallah, who is the Secretary General of Hezbollah, he threatened them that if they extract any gas before they solve the maritime border dispute, there's going to be a huge response. If Israel messes with Lebanon and starts extracting gas before this issue has been resolved, they're going to strike the Israeli gas rigs. And no company is going to want to come anywhere near that because it's a war zone then. Let me show you this opinion piece I found in The Guardian. The ruble is soaring and Putin is stronger than ever. Our sanctions have backfired. Wow, you don't say. Took you 5 months to realize that? Western sanctions against Russia are the most ill-conceived and counterproductive policy in recent international history. The reality of sanctions on Russia is that they invite retaliation. Putin is free to freeze Europe this winter. He has slashed supply from major pipelines such as Nord Stream 1 by up to 80%. The chief beneficiary is none other than Russia, whose energy exports to Asia have soared, driving its balance of payments into unprecedented surplus. Man, seriously, did I not say exactly all of this months ago? Perhaps after all, we should stick to war. I don't agree with everything in this article, but the premise that sanctions have failed, absolutely. I mean, this was clear from the beginning, man. They're attacking India again for buying Russian oil. Now, again, think of how the United States and the West are. They thought, okay, we're going to sanction Russia, and then Russia's economy is going to be destroyed. And now Russia is moving more amounts of oil towards the east than it did before, and India is buying this up at a discount. The Ukrainian foreign minister, look what he says to India. He says that every barrel of Russian oil delivered to India has quote-unquote Ukrainian blood on it. They're shipping Russian oil to the United States via India. They just send it to India, and then in India they mix it in with something else, right? So chemically speaking, it's not exactly 100% the same as it came in from Russia. Western European countries and the United States want to go lecture India for buying the same oil as them. The West still consuming Russian oil, and then they have the nerve to lecture India for doing the same. Europe needs a gas supplier. Israel, I mean, no matter what it wants to do, it's not just about the money. Let me explain this, man, because the Israelis, they don't, for them, it's not that they need the money desperately like Lebanon. They want people to legitimize them, to validate them. They want to have the prestige of being, oh, we're an official energy supplier to the European Union. Remember, when you're supplying resources that are so crucial, like oil, like gas, you know, this gives you power. It is power. And they want to kneecap Iran in every way, whether it's gas, whether it's oil, whatever it is, whether it's foreign investments. Remember how many companies lost billions that they invested in Iran? There is a serious will to cooperate with Iran, but the Israelis hate that. They want to be the number one in the region. Gennady Gatilov, who is Russia's permanent representative to the United Nations in Geneva, that just means that he's an ambassador. He said that the world has changed and the UN will never be the same as it was before. These UN votes, remember, there were multiple resolutions to condemn Russia, to ask Russia to end the invasion and so on. India that didn't do it, China that didn't do it, and only South Africa condemning Russia. That's very huge. They want to deal with Russia. Doesn't mean they like the war, but they're not going to go and like cancel Russia. Although overwhelmingly those countries at the UN did vote to condemn Russia, the ones that didn't have very powerful economies or vast resources, or both. Of course, that includes Iran as well, Iraq. They all refuse to condemn Russia. I think I understand what he's saying, that, oh, the UN will never be the same. I get the feeling it's the same with the European Western society, the economy. This is all going to go down the drain. A lot of people are going to get hurt, which is very unfortunate. In the last couple of months, you've seen them sanction Russia, and what has that done? It's driven the value of the ruble up. The euro and the dollar are down. Russia has made even more money than it was making before because the Europeans are still buying the oil. The rest of the world is still buying the oil, and the price of oil and the price of gas have gone up. So even if Russia's selling less oil and less gas, the fact that the price has gone up means that Russia's making more, there's more revenue, okay? So they've come up with a new plan. This is their new brilliant plan. The crude cap applying from December 5th, and the refined products to follow from February 5th, 2023. If you want to go and move Russian oil, you need to get a ship, and you need to get that ship and the cargo insured. The idea is that they will refuse to move your Russian oil unless you bought it at a price per barrel that is below this threshold. I can already tell you one thing: the Chinese are never going to go along with this price cap. A price cap on Russian oil without the price of oil skyrocketing. It's just not happening, man. The EU now wants to replace Russian gas with Israeli gas, right? There's nothing better than some stolen Lebanese gas. And the Israelis are trying their best to block the nuclear deal because, you know, if sanctions are lifted on Iran, Iran is free to sell its oil and gas. Remember, Iran has the biggest gas reserves in the world after Russia. And what do the Israelis do? They straight up just send a giant ship to start extracting the gas. I mean, this thing is a behemoth. You know, Nasrallah, who is the Secretary General of Hezbollah, he threatened them that if they extract any gas before they solve the maritime border dispute, there's going to be a huge response. If Israel messes with Lebanon and starts extracting gas before this issue has been resolved, they're going to strike the Israeli gas rigs. And no company is going to want to come anywhere near that because it's a war zone then. Let me show you this opinion piece I found in The Guardian. The ruble is soaring and Putin is stronger than ever. Our sanctions have backfired. Wow, you don't say. Took you 5 months to realize that? Western sanctions against Russia are the most ill-conceived and counterproductive policy in recent international history. The reality of sanctions on Russia is that they invite retaliation. Putin is free to freeze Europe this winter. He has slashed supply from major pipelines such as Nord Stream 1 by up to 80%. The chief beneficiary is none other than Russia, whose energy exports to Asia have soared, driving its balance of payments into unprecedented surplus. Man, seriously, did I not say exactly all of this months ago? Perhaps, after all, we should stick to war. I don't agree with everything in this article, but the premise that sanctions have failed, absolutely. I mean, this was clear from the beginning, man. They're attacking India again for buying Russian oil. Now, again, think of how the United States and the West are. They thought, okay, we're going to sanction Russia, and then Russia's economy is going to be destroyed. And now Russia is moving more amounts of oil towards the east than it did before. And India is buying this up at a discount. The Ukrainian foreign minister, look what he says to India. He says that every barrel of Russian oil delivered to India has quote-unquote Ukrainian blood on it. They're shipping Russian oil to the United States via India. They just send it to India, and then in India they mix it in with something else, right? So chemically speaking, it's not exactly 100% the same as it came in from Russia. Western European countries and the United States want to go lecture India for buying the same oil as them. The West still consuming Russian oil, and then they have the nerve to lecture India for doing the same. Europe needs a gas supplier. Israel, I mean, no matter what it wants to do, it's not just about the money. Let me explain this, man, because the Israelis, for them, it's not that they need the money desperately like Lebanon. They want people to legitimize them, to validate them. They want to have the prestige of being, oh, we're an official energy supplier to the European Union. Remember, when you are supplying resources... Hello. For all those of you who just tuned in, please let me know which city, which state, which country you guys are tuning in from. Sound off in the comments, and please make sure you've hit the like button. Let me get started with the next segment, and okay. We have a bromance finally restored. Hamas and Syria have finally kissed and made up. They're best buddies again. Everything is nice and dandy. Check this out. 16th of September. Hamas and Syria. Normalization after a decade of rupture. So, you guys know that the war on Syria, right? The war on Syria started in 2011. And, you know, Syria was kicked out of the Arab League, which is ridiculous. How can you have an Arab League without Syria? First of all, but anyway, all these Arab countries and especially, you know, the petro states, the gas stations created by the West, you know, egg this on and finance their own brands of terrorists in Syria and all this stuff, and they tried to, you know, make Syria a pariah. And the issue that happened between Hamas and Syria is bad because Syria has always, when I say always, I mean, you know, for the most part, been one of the strongest Arab supporters of the Palestinian cause, right? Let me just give you an example. Right now, today, and for the last decades, you know, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is another group, where is it based? Damascus, right? You think the Saudis would allow them to set up shop there? No. Try it in Lebanon and Jordan, see what happens. And I'm not saying, again, when I talk about, I'm talking about the governments, right? Not the people there, because if you polled or you asked or interviewed most Arabs do support the Palestinian cause. I think most people, regardless whether they're Arab or not, you show them what's going on, you know, it's pretty clear cut. So this was weird that, suddenly Hamas is not just like severing ties with Syria, but actually fighting against the Syrian government, right? Now, you will hear that people counter that by saying, well, it wasn't all of Hamas. Some people inside Hamas were against that. They were not okay with Assad, but they weren't okay either with going and sending fighters there and so on. And of course, do not confuse that with what Turkey or Qatar or Saudi Arabia did, which is recruit foreign mercenaries from who the hell knows where, from the UK, from Tunisia, from Afghanistan, wherever. Gather them all inside Syria and lob them at the government in Damascus and try to get rid of it, because that these organizations are completely different, right? And Hamas exists since a long time, right? Now, the reason that they have patched things up now, because you might be asking yourself, well, okay, why would they suddenly change their mind, or why would there suddenly be a détente, right? Rapprochement in 2022. The answer lies in the situation on the ground, which is that the resistance axis is becoming stronger and stronger. Ask yourself this question. Hezbollah today in 2022, are they weaker or stronger than 10 years ago? Than 20 years ago? Is Iran weaker or stronger today compared to 10, 20 years ago? All of these countries that they like brainwash people into hating on the news, right? And they dub them the axis of evil. You remember David Frum, who was George Bush's speechwriter? He coined this term, axis of evil. And they just like put everyone who won't accept American and Western banks, North Korea, Syria, whatever. Yeah, axis of evil. They're all bad. They're evil. We're the good guys. They're the bad guys, right? It's like a cowboy movie or something. So that term was flipped on its head and turned into axis of resistance. And what I think is so interesting about it is that look at who is in this axis of resistance. Iran, Syria, Hamas, Hezbollah, these groups, these countries, these organizations, they have nothing to do with each other in terms of, having the same political system, right? Or people also say Nicaragua, Venezuela, you should count them in there too, right? Yemen, the Hashd al-Sha'bi, they're all different. Syria is a secular country. Iran is an Islamic republic. Hezbollah is Shia. Hamas is Sunni. And so when you see this, you see that actually all these groups are uniting together to fight thieves, colonizers, invaders, killers, be they British, be they French, be they American, be they Israeli. Then you start to understand what is actually happening. And because the ignorant, the completely ignorant, basic, simpleton logic that they teach people in the West is that, oh yeah, it's just like it's Sunni versus Shia, and it's a religious thing and blah blah blah. Complete utter rubbish. Why would Iran be supporting Hamas if it's about Shia versus Sunni? Explain that one to me. Why would Syria, a secular country, be hosting Palestinian Islamic Jihad? Because they all have a common cause. Do you understand? Why would Iran be working with Venezuela? Is Venezuela an Islamic republic? Is Venezuela Shia? This has nothing to do with religion and everything to do with decolonization. This is the real decolonization, not this stuff they tell you that, oh, it started in 1945 and everyone magically had independence. No. When you understand what the International Monarchy Fund is, the IMF, the World Bank, and all this NGO complex, how they keep all these countries in debt in perpetuity, the multinational corporations, it's colonialism, with a different name. And so when you have actual anti-colonial movements, right? Actual decolonization, what do they tell you? Oh, they're terrorists. That's the excuse. Oh, they're terrorists. So for me, right, just observing this, what I gather from seeing Hamas and Syria mending ties is that both of these parties are seeing that Israel is getting weaker, the United States, and when I say the United States, I'm talking about the West in general, especially what's happening now because of Ukraine being a trigger and having global ramifications. Everybody is looking at this and they're like, you guys are screwed, right? And there's nothing funny about it, but I'm talking about the governments, I'm talking about the system itself. And that doesn't mean tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and, the petrodollar disappeared and all these 800 American military bases disappeared and the world is perfect. No, I don't know what the world is going to be like. Who the hell knows what it's going to be like in 50 years, in 20 years, in 5 years? No one is saying that the next system or the next, if it's a multipolar world, for example, is going to be necessarily better. We can't know that. I'm not, this is not a card reading show. I don't do tarot. But the current system, I can tell you with utmost certainty, has to go. It's corrupt, it's evil. It's been going on for centuries. It's murderous. Right, and it's all about exploitation, slavery, resources. All about exploitation, and I think it's this what you're seeing right here. This is very, very important, and it doesn't mean that Syria can also just give them all the help that it used to. But again, I'll remind you that one of the reasons Syria is being attacked by Israel is precisely because of this support for the Palestinian cause, for the Lebanese resistance, for all the Arabs in the region that are fighting against imperialism. That is one of the reasons Syria is paying this price. It's not the only one, but it's one of the biggest reasons. No question. Right? And you don't need to take my word for it. Go listen to the Israelis, right? They'll tell you, Hamas and Hezbollah, they're moving weapons through Syria, and there's Iran and blah, 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 right? Like Syria is the one that is helping all of these resistance movements. So that's why they bombed Syria and they hurt Syria. And, I don't know how the Israelis are going to react to this, but they bombed Damascus International Airport just 2-3 days ago. They killed 5 Syrian soldiers. They get away with violating international law and all sorts of crimes, right? Because they're given a carte blanche by the West. But I would not be too cocky if I were an Israeli seeing this. I would not be too happy about that or too cocky, because all of these groups are getting bigger. All of these, Iran, even despite the sanctions and sanctions hurt, it's progressed so much militarily, so much with a nuclear program that that's impressive, and it shows you that sanctions never ever lead to regime change. They only lead to suffering, but they don't tell you that part. And never listen to anyone who's telling you that, it's religion and blah, blah, blah. Complete rubbish. It's all about, having a resistance front. And this is proof of that. This is proof of that. You can see here, this is September 17th. Hamas condemns the Israeli strikes as it seeks to restore ties with Syria. So that's, again, Hamas publicly, not just, burying the hatchet, as they say, or shall we say patching things up with Syria, but also coming out and officially taking Syria's side. You wouldn't have seen that before, I think, not too often anyway, right? And I love how the Jerusalem Post, they say the missile strikes on Damascus International Airport, which were reportedly carried out by Israel. Reportedly. as if, it was the space invaders from, Mars who did it. It was the Air Force of Australia. It was the Royal Australian Air Force. Who else did it? They're really funny. Anyway, I suspect now that Jordan has normalized ties with Syria again, not completely, but they opened the border, flights. King Abdullah, he spoke with Assad, I think, about 6 months ago on the phone. Saudi Arabia is an entirely different beast, but even with Saudi Arabia, you heard reports that they're seeking to amend ties with Damascus. You have all of these Arab countries that were, basically treating Syria like a pariah, doing a 180 now, because they can see that this regime change project did not work, and they had better work with their neighbor, because it's to their own detriment if they don't. And they really kind of just look like fools, to be honest. But anyway, I'm not gonna sit here and make it a black and white story. I'm just showing you that the resistance axis is getting stronger. Pay attention to that. It's so funny because in Germany and in the UK, they ban Hezbollah and Hamas. But if you go and fight with al-Nusra, they're cool with that terrorist group, which, by the way, for those of you who are not, for the uninitiated among you, al-Nusra is basically Al-Qaeda when they rebranded themselves. Now they're called, they rebranded again. They're actually called HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Whatever, man. If it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. Or in this case, it's Al-Qaeda. Those terrorists, they don't mind because they serve their purposes, right? They serve their interests, right? And even the Israelis said that on Al Jazeera, the former chief of the Mossad. He said, hey, look, what's wrong with treating Al-Qaeda fighters if they're working towards Syria's detriment and towards our advantage? Why not? And then you guys remember that clip? Mehdi Hassan says, well, what about Hezbollah fighter? Would you treat a Hezbollah fighter? And then suddenly he's like, oh, no. That's hilarious, man. Hilarious, really. But I think it's interesting. I think it's really interesting watching decolonization and what it means today. This is what it means. It doesn't mean you have to like every single member of the group. It doesn't mean you have to agree with every single policy that Syria has, or Hezbollah has, or Iran. This is irrelevant. It's let me give you a very good example or analogy. In World War II, people always praise the French resistance, right? La résistance. And they were so tough, and yeah, they were. Although I went to a French school, and I can tell the official French statistic is that 1% of the French population resisted the Nazis actively. That's besides the point. The French resistance. Who do you think was in the French resistance? You think it was just like random farmers and painters and whatever, and bakers who hate Nazis? A lot of them were communists. Actually, the toughest fighting factions in the French resistance, or some of the toughest, were communists, right? And number one, I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. And number two, it just goes to show you that you don't have to be a communist to go and fight fucking Nazis alongside those groups. You get what I mean? I think it's an analogy that works pretty well, right? That you have a collective front working towards a common goal, even though you don't necessarily know or agree or see eye to eye with every member of the group or every party. By the way, sorry, during the break, I was just thinking back to the segment we did about Deutsche Welle, and I was thinking like how, you know, they're saying here in the text, I don't know if what this is, their constitution. But let me just show this to you again here, right? So they're saying that, you know, their beliefs as a broadcaster consist of, you know, affirming Israel's right to exist. That's what they're saying. Why don't they do that for you know, other people? Like, you could also argue technically that if you say Palestine does not have the right to exist, then you are a racist who hates Arabs. I could also make that argument, right? So why doesn't Deutsche Welle write that you must not denigrate Palestine's right to exist? It's just a thought, right? Why not put, I don't know, the UK's right to exist in there while you're at it? I don't understand what this means. Anyway, we all know what this is about. It's about shutting you up if you criticize Israel. That's really what it is. That's the bottom line. So let me just play a crab dance. I owe you guys a crab dance because we got a new member on Patreon, and everybody please give a warm welcome to Alexander. Thank you, Alexander, for supporting my work. I appreciate that very much. If you guys learned something new, if you enjoy my work, if you want to, you know, support me so I can continue to do my work, consider supporting the show for $1 a month or €1 a month, whatever currency you want. You can do as little or as much as you'd like. And I think we're just short of the goal. We just need a few more members until we hit our monthly goal. So everybody put your hands together for Alex, and here is his crab dance.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard. Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome, which is a technical marvel.
والله انت كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro, and then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me? Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have two number 9s. Number 9 large.
we got him.
I told myself, I know it's not.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Why you take that? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Hey! Put your hands together for Alexander. Thank you very much. Look at this, guys. Claudia just sent me the latest figures. We're looking good. 858 out of 900. So we are just a few dozen short from hitting the goal. So if, again, you like what I do, you want to support independent journalism, please consider supporting the show on Patreon for $1, $10 a month, whatever you like. It's up to you. And here's the sign-up screen, but those numbers are just examples. You don't have to do 5, you can do 3, whatever. It's up to you. And we are trying to get to 900. I know we've got about 700 people watching, so I'm pretty sure we can hit 900. Look, guys. We're so close. Wouldn't that be amazing? Why is it special to hit 900? I'll tell you why, man. Because when we hit 1,000, I promised you guys a piñata. And I have been looking forward to that shit for 2 years. Or something. I don't remember. I don't remember when we came up with that. But So I know that we can grow pretty fast, and we're gonna do it. So thank you again, and Claudia has been kind enough to put the links in the description. So thanks very much for that. I'll be checking for notifications, and whenever someone signs up, I play a crab dance. That's the way. That's how we do this. So can you guys tell me something in the comments right now in the live chat? When you go to the gas station, how much are you paying to fill up? Well, let's say per gallon, right? How much are you paying a gallon? And tell me where you are, because obviously every state is going to be different. And I'm just assuming most of you are in the U.S. because most of you are in the U.S. Man, I was speaking. Let me just tell you how much it costs to fill up a gallon. So that's 3.7 liters, right? 3.75. If you are not in Russia, just next door in Kazakhstan, you would pay, I think, 1.5 euros. Dirt cheap. In Russia, maybe it's cheaper. I don't know. Is somebody in Russia? I mean, probably, given how it is like someone from every country in the chat. I see $3.50 in Minnesota. California is still $6 a gallon. $3.59 in Iowa. Val says $3.09 a gallon in our part of Texas. $5 a gallon in Wisconsin. North Dakota, $3.69. Dimitri's in Greece is saying €1.90 a liter. Well, hold on, a liter or a gallon? I lost your comment. Well, per liter, so you have to multiply that because a gallon is 3.75. So that actually might not end up being really good. Mars is saying 70 cents in Iran. Yep. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly true, but I appreciate the sentiment. That's the thing, right? Let's look at Iran. Iran has more gas than any country in the world after Russia. And again, when I say gas, I'm saying natural gas. Now, when it comes to oil, right? They've got, what is it, like I don't want to say the wrong number, but I do think it's 100 million in reserve just waiting. Let me double check that. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, it's correct. They've got 100 million barrels of crude in storage. What the heck? Don't drink it all at one go. Someone in the comments was talking about drinking gasoline. Do not do that, dude. I'm strictly asking to understand how sanctions are affecting the planet. Okay, stop going crazy. Russia, somebody that called M says in Russia it's $1 a liter. Okay, so you would pay $3.75 a gallon. Someone in Moscow says it's $3.30. Really? But then hold on a second. That means some places in the US are paying less than you per gallon. Julia who's also in Russia, is saying under $1 per liter. And we've got someone, this is Casey in Buffalo, New York, saying that it's $3.90, about $3.90. Mario says Greece is €2. Well, in light of recent events, I advise you all to buy a bicycle or walk or something. No, but seriously, man, these prices, I don't know what's going to happen because we haven't reached winter yet. And I have a bad, I don't know. I'm getting bad vibes from Ursula, from von der Leyen and her band of no good evildoers. That's a great name for a network of villains. $1 in Pakistan, apparently. That's crazy. Yeah, Ferdinand Singh von der Leyen. I've been trying to come up with different names for her because she's just really a character. And, you know. That guy roasted her. Should I play the clip again? I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I definitely enjoy it. I want to show you this clip of Ursula getting roasted by a guy. Actually, I didn't tell you this, but the guy roasting her is someone who ran for to become an MEP. So MEP is member of European Parliament. And he ran as a joke and actually got elected and then did it again. And he's the one who's roasting her, right? And when I say roasting her, he's not really roasting her. He's just like saying the fucking truth that she is corrupt and she takes money from, well, he mentioned the thing with the text messages, but I think that's the second time that's happened, isn't it? Because she used to be the defense minister in Germany. Where's the goddamn clip? Hold on a second. Let me find this thing. I'm getting carried away, man. I'm not going to give you her whole CV. Here's the I just want to add one last thing, and I think most of you will agree with me that you know, there we go. This here. Okay. You guys see that? How about now? It's working? Okay, I just want to add one thing before I play the clip. I just want to say the fact that this guy ran for the European Parliament as a joke and is the one voice of reason compared to the EU commissioner. I mean, that really says it all. That really says it all. This guy is from a party which was, you know, founded as a joke, as satire. And, you know, basically, people that are in there for laughs have more of a fucking brain than the ones running the EU, than the ones that are actually, you know, driving EU policy into the ground and everyone along with it.
Sehr geehrte Frau von der Leyen, mit Karl Kraus zu sprechen, mir fällt zum Zustand der EU nichts ein. Um uns von einem Gaslieferanten zu lösen, der einen brutalen Angriffskrieg führt, Putin, haben Sie uns einen gesucht, der einen brutalen Angriffskrieg führt, Aliyev. Auch wenn viele deutsche Medien schweigen, derzeit überfällt die Öldiktatur, die zum vertrauenswürdigen Partner erklärt wurde von Ihnen, das demokratische Armenien. Respekt für diese Wahl. Immerhin liegt unser neuer bester Kumpel Aserbaidschan in Sachen Demokratie, Presse und bürgerliche Freiheiten noch weit hinter Russland. Nur bei der Bestechung korrupter CDU-Honks ist Aliyev ganz vorn. Als Sie Ihren Dienst hier antraten, dachte ich, Sie seien lediglich unfähig und ein bisschen kriminell. Inzwischen weiß ich, dass Sie auch beeindruckend moralfrei sind. An den Außengrenzen sterben täglich Flüchtlinge, Frackinggas und Atomkraft sind auf einmal nachhaltig und Sie löschen routiniert Ihre SMS zu den Milliardenzahlungen an Pfizer. Mir fällt zur EU nichts mehr ein, außer wir sollten Europa nicht den Laien überlassen.
Yeah, more like von der Leyen, bitch. I have the same problem. That makes two of us, man. I can't tell if she's incompetent or evil or both. I really can't. They play the part quite well, don't they? Isn't it crazy? This guy is in there for a joke and he speaks more reason than I don't know. It makes sense when you understand that most politicians, for them, being in office is a side gig. You know, the real money comes from being, you know, a corporate. What's the politically correct term? I guess there isn't one, right? Being a bitch for corporations. That's what it's about, man. You know, being a corporate lackey. But in any case, I'm not going to get into the defense minister scandals and stuff. We'll do that another time. Again, if you guys like to support the show, look where we are at. 858. We are so close to hitting the goal, to hitting 900 subscribers. So please consider supporting the show. You can donate $1 a month, £1 a month. Whatever currency is actually still worth something after Ursula's lovely sanctions. But seriously, as little as $1 a month goes a long way. So thank you guys for supporting independent media. Also, I'm really just looking for an excuse to play crab dance. But you didn't hear me say that. And I love crab dances. You know why? Because Claudia just made a new one that I have not seen. And I'm waiting for someone to join so I can actually play it. She just sent me the link to download it. Hold on. Let me download this. I never know what to expect, you know? It's kind of a good thing. There we go. There's a link. Okay. Someone go join on Patreon because I'm not playing this unless we got a reason to party. Hold on. This is crab dance number 13. Why? Because every time we hit the monthly goal, we add something new to it, right? I mean, I did most of it, but then I started giving it to Claudia, so I can be surprised while I'm live with something fresh and get a good laugh out of it. Okay, so I've got the file, and I'm just waiting on you guys. You know, the fate of indie media lies in your hands. I'm just reading through your comments on the YouTube chat. So, hold on. Give me a second. It's refreshing. Indigo says, "Oh my God, new crab dance, please." Yes. Well, it's coming. And Metallic says he's holding the crab dance hostage. You're damn right. This is a bargaining chip for the nuclear talks that I'm not giving away. And look at that. We got several people in the span of a minute who've just signed up, and the list is just keep getting longer and longer. We've got Nabil. Thank you very much, Nabil. And we've got Checkmate Gaming. Thank you for supporting the show. I'm more than happy to unveil this brand new crab dance for you, and I can't wait to hear it. Let's see what we got. Ready? Let's go.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line. Claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome, which is a technical marvel.
والله انت كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro and then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me? Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have two number 9s. The number 9 large.
we got him.
I told myself, I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh!
Disgusting!
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Yo! She put the fist bump in there. Everybody, put your hands together for Claudia. That was outstanding. Or put your fist bumps together for Claudia. Huh? Well done. And I know you can hear me double. Good for Claudia. That was outstanding. Let it delay and echo and reverb and reverberate. Let it permeate the air. That was amazing. Thank you, Claudia. You did great. And I cannot wait to see the next issue, the next iteration, the next edition, the next... Wow. That was so fucking crazy. Because I saw MBS and I was like, what's the audio gonna be? And it's like, oh... Oh man, you guys are hilarious. You're really hilarious. Thank you very much. We have random moaning with Biden and MBS. I really don't know what level we've reached, but it's we've ascended, whatever that means. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Claudia, and all of you for being here. Let me see. Hold on. So we are now this is actually outdated. We should be 860 now. Yeah, 860. So we're 30 people away from 40 people away from hitting the goal. And I know we'll do that. We'll get there. So I believe in you guys. And I forgot to show this on the screen. Forgive me. There is a QR code for the PayPal, of course, if you want to do a one-time thing. If you have a question, if you have a comment, shoot. Go ahead. Just send it over. I'll try my best. Hey, have you guys ever heard the radio shows on I mean, I don't really have time to play games now, but on GTA, man, amazing, honestly. I really get a kick out of it because being someone who speaks for a living and is always in front of a microphone now, it's even funnier to me to hear that shit. It's so over the top. It's so outrageous, honestly. Laszlo. Where are the comments? I'm trying to find you guys. Ah, there we go. Tristan is saying Welsh Republic forever. Well, I wish you all the luck. The Queen's not looking, so now's your chance. Go for it. No one could blame you. Tristan says, "I'll do a drive-by on you in GTA 5." Well, that's not very nice. You saw the guy in the crab dance with the RPG. That was when they finally got fuel coming into Lebanon, and I mean, I've never seen anything more Lebanese, just firing a fucking rocket into the air to celebrate. I mean, wow. Shubdiul. Wow. Delbert says the Prince of Wales is busy being king. Ferdinand the Bull says that was so Lebanese. It is. I'm not saying it in a mocking way. It just is, man. In Lebanon, everyone has a gun. And Noah says, "I have not caught your streams live before. This is cool. Welcome. You are now at the cool kids table. You're in the back of the bus. This is where it's at. The minivan off to I don't know. I don't know how to finish the sentence. But I'm glad you're here. I know why you haven't caught it before, because YouTube doesn't give any notifications because they're being smart. They think they're being funny, and it's not, because the the very reason I always tell you guys like the video is so people actually get notified and also actually see the video afterwards, whether they come on YouTube 8 hours later or 2 hours later, there's a chance they might see it. South says everything is celebrated with a rocket or bullet. Live says, Assalamu alaikum akhi, kif al-hal min Sweden. Habibi bro, we love you. Shout out to Sweden. I've never been there, but it's always nice to see how international the comment section is, and not just obviously the comment section, but you guys and the audience. It makes me very happy. So, oh, look at this. Samir, ahlan wa sahlan, Samir. Susan is saying, I wear your lion t-shirt almost every day. That makes me very happy. And again, I'm not saying this because I made it. I mean, Mona made it. Actually, she's the one who designed it for me, and I love it too. You know, the idea was like we both have birthdays in August. You know, Leo gang. So she just randomly made a lion. I don't know if Mona's here, but she did great stuff. And I should wear it more often, actually. I forget to wear it and plug it on the stream myself, which is not very hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. Where were we? Yes. Did you guys see Iran is now on its way to join the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Yeah, here we go. I think you should see it now. So, Mona helped me make like virtually everything here. I came up with the Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition Death Call, but she basically did everything else. And this is the lion that Susan was talking about. You know, really, really cool stuff. Mona's really great at graphic design, even though she likes to say she's not. And you guys remember Bernie Sanders' campaign? He had this font. Where's the lion, man? I clicked on it. There we go. Yeah, I don't have this hoodie, unfortunately. I just have this, like, where is it? Oh, I should definitely get, what is it? A sticker. That's actually not a bad idea. Anyway, I just wanted to show you this stuff about the Shanghai. That's such a smooth transition. Yo, check out my dope fucking merch. By the way, Iran joined the SCO. Are you following the signing of the memorandum? It is cool and it is important. So let me break this down for you guys because I mean, we all know, okay. Why am I wearing the headphones, man? I was listening to the crab dance. We're done now. I mean, I was actually gonna leave this for tomorrow, but you know, since we're here, why not? Basically, here's what happened. You guys know there was this very important summit in Samarkand, and you had the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He met with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, and guess what else happened? Iran now on its way to join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO for short. Okay, so Iran has signed a memorandum of obligations to become a permanent member of the Shanghai, we're going to say SCO, a Central Asian security body. Quote, by signing the document for full membership of the SCO, Iran has entered a new stage of various economic, commercial, transit, and energy cooperation. So this statement came as leaders from China, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan headed to the latter city of Samarkand for a summit of the 8-member SCO, which is a security group formed by Beijing and Moscow as a counterweight to United States influence. Afghanistan, Belarus, Iran, and Mongolia are observer countries, while the organization has 6 quote-unquote dialogue partners: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Cambodia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Turkey. You see how the vast majority of these countries are global south, right? What you would call third world in the past. We say global south now, right? So this is what is very important. And this is from Al Jazeera. They say, last year, the rapidly expanding SCO, key word, right? Key phrase, rapidly expanding, approved Iran's application for accession, while the government in Tehran called on members to help it form a mechanism to avert sanctions. Imposed by the West over its disputed nuclear program. I mean, again, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt because I'm covering the nuclear deal, and it just, look, there are no sanctions on Iran because of its nuclear program. The whole point of the nuclear deal is to get rid of those. Get rid of them. There are sanctions on Iran because Donald Trump is, or was a lackey for the Israelis. They just used him. And Biden is no better, so he just keeps the same policies in place. Very simple. So, quote, the relationship between countries that are sanctioned by the US, such as Iran, Russia, or other countries, can overcome many problems and issues and make them stronger. This is Ibrahim Raisi, the new Iranian president, who told Vladimir Putin during this summit, right? Quote, the Americans think whichever country they impose sanctions on, it will be stopped. Their perception is a wrong one. For his part, Putin said relations were, quote-unquote, developing positively between Russia and Iran, and gave his full support to the latter's application to become an SCO member. See what it says here? Reporting from the Silk Road oasis of Samarkand. Al Jazeera's Rasul Sardar said Iran's full membership is expected to become effective next year in April 2023. The SCO, which is the world's largest regional organization consisting of 40% of the world's population and 30% of its GDP, wants to further expand. Belarus is also officially going to sign the documents that its membership will be initiated. Qatar and Saudi Arabia are also expected to become new dialogue partners. So this is from Al Jazeera's reporter. Now, they also continue in the article. Yeah, they go on to say in the article that Iran's economy has been hit hard since 2018. Again, we went over this, right? So why do they mention this at the end? I think it's very important because, Iran's president himself, who they quoted, is like just straight up saying it. We're doing this to, I wouldn't necessarily say circumvent, but shall we say, deviate from the system plagued by sanctions, the system that America, the West, are able to manipulate to their liking with sanctions, right? Because when the Americans have, the petrodollar at their disposal, and it's not just backed by, oil sales, it's the world's de facto global reserve currency, right? So most central banks use dollars because they, they think it has not just value right now, but long-term value and stability. And the United States, obviously there are many pros to that, but at the same time, the United States because of this monopoly, is able to weaponize dollars against other countries, right? And because of just, the fact that right now it's what you would call a hyperpower after the Cold War, it has the means to do that. A lot of countries are sick of it. They are so sick of it. And it's very not just obvious, but imperative that Russia and China participate and drive these organizations to success, because without them, I don't think it will be viable. It'd be very difficult to get these things off the ground. But when you know that China's economy is growing so rapidly, and they're set to overtake the United States we've been saying that for a while now, but nevertheless, it will happen eventually. It's great when you you spend your money on infrastructure instead of bombing people. But anyway, China is set to overtake the United States, and I'm not saying that it has the same attributes in terms of soft power and hard power as the U.S. They each have their pros and cons, but the rate at which it's growing, its size, it's just inevitable that you're seeing in real time, not just Iran, not just Syria, and I say that because they're smaller countries, but even the countries with all the resources, that Europe depends on, meaning Russia, and Iran has the second largest gas reserves after that. They're just turning away from the West. They're looking eastward. If I were in the West, as a politician, I'd be worried. Because winter is coming, and the pace at which things are moving, it's really I don't know. I don't think it's speculation at all. It's really every other week you see something striking and formidable happening, right? It hasn't even been 2 weeks that I told you China is now paying Russia for gas in rubles, not dollars, right? And now Iran is joining the SCO. April is right around the corner, and it's not only that. There were other things that we talked about with, basically Iran helping Venezuela out because Venezuela was hit with sanctions, and then Iran and Venezuela trying to get a piece of this payment system because Visa and MasterCard pulled out of Russia, right? So if you're in Russia, you have a Visa card, you can still use it inside Russia, but you can't use it for anything outside Russia. Obviously, that's not practical, right? So Mir, which is Mir, meaning MIR. Mir is the Russian payment system. It's something that they developed, I think, after 2014, and it's mostly. Obviously, it doesn't have the same a pull or weight as Visa and MasterCard, but it started just as a domestic thing. Now Iran wants in on it. Venezuela wants in on it. China wants to link UnionPay with it. These countries are not jokes. They're the future. You understand? And I think the first telltale sign was like the refusal to put sanctions. You know why? Because, well, it's twofold. Number one, they don't do this like performative nonsense. Like, oh, we are democracies and we have to take a stand, and we like those dictators, but right now we don't need you and we don't like you and blah blah blah. Forget this. Countries, the BRICS, just as an example, they're not interested in this. They're thinking, how can we grow our economy? How can we build more infrastructure? And again, obviously, the Indian foreign minister comes to mind. I showed you how he spoke to Liz Truss. He was basically like, "You're gonna come lecture me about buying Russian oil? You guys in Europe buys more Russian oil in one afternoon than we buy in a month. we got a good deal, we're taking it. That's it. End of story. So they're smart, you know? And look how the euro is doing. Look how the pound is doing. Would you really trust people like that for long-term business? I wouldn't. Russia had roughly half of its central bank assets stolen. They say frozen, they ain't giving that shit back. Right? Roughly 300 billion. Who the fuck would ever trust a Western bank after that? No wonder the Russians said, no. You pay us now in rubles, and not just that, you pay us in a Russian bank. We're not letting you freeze our fucking money again, like you literally just did last week. I'm speaking as if we're in March, right? The Russians were like, yeah, you are out of your fucking minds. No. We're not going to charge you extra, but that money is going to a Gazprom bank, a state-owned bank, a Russian bank. Because when we put our money in your banks, you literally fucking steal our money. And then you want us to give you gas for free. I mean, again, I'm not saying the Russians are perfect or, that they are faultless and they are angels. But there is a certain arrogance that emits from the British. I would know. You got to learn your own history, and a Western European arrogance that is it's just incorrigible. No wonder everybody's like fucking off, and they're making their own organizations and their own initiatives and just leaving the West behind. This is not just something temporary. This is gonna have long lasting effects because this is state piracy. It's piracy, You might think of piracy like, oh, it's Jack Sparrow jumping off a ship and stealing, a barrel of rum or some shit. No. This is piracy. When you steal $300 billion, this is astronomical. And people have had enough. That's why you see this. I rest my case. And I want to say one last thing. This arrogance, this arrogance that, oh, we're going to sanction Venezuela. We're going to sanction Syria. We're going to sanction Iran. When you have a bully that just goes around punching people all the time, there's going to come a moment where he's going to run into someone twice his size who's going to knock him the fuck out. And I'm not saying that, there's Russia should be vengeful or shut off the gas. And although, again, that Nord Stream 1 repair is not a repair. But besides the point, Russia is really, it was the bridge too far because they messed with the wrong one. They thought this is going to be a walk in the park. Like, oh, we're just going to slap them with sanctions and we're going to make them suffer and they're going to shut up and nothing's going to happen. No, you meaning, the Western countries, specifically in Europe, need gas from Russia. You have nothing without this gas. You have no electricity, no heat, nothing. The steel plants, the mill, nothing works without it. I'm speaking, of course, with a little hint, right? A little dash of hyperbole. 40% is nothing to scoff at. When 40 with a zero. That you really depend on Russian gas, and the Russians are basically like they swallowed the fact that we took $300 billion, and not just from some the Russian oligarchs, which they seem to care about all of a sudden. but from the central bank. That's a sovereign country having its assets stolen, right? So that's a huge crime in and of itself. But the Russians did not shut off the gas. They did not raise the prices. And, you know, these politicians, man, the worst part is that they're not going to learn their lesson because they don't feel the effects of their shitty decisions, right? It's like, you know, when you start a war and your sons don't have to go fight in that war, you're going to be more trigger happy. You're going to, you know, you're going to be much more likely to make poor decisions. And so Ursula von der Leyen, I guess lying motherfucker is a better surname for her, does not feel, you know, does not feel it in her purse when the gas bill goes up. She's going to have heating and electricity at her nice little, you know, mansion and her office and all this stuff. So I don't even know what to say, but in the long term, you know, they got so arrogant. They thought, okay, Russia's just going to shut up like everyone else. You know, we can squash everyone. We can manipulate everyone. Dude, remember, the petrodollar, the only reason that people use the dollar as a reserve currency is because it's backed by something, right? It's you know, it's under the premise that the majority of oil sales are denominated in US dollars, which they still are. It's getting less and less, though, in case you haven't been following the channel. And the you know, the countless videos that I've already done, because so many payments are now being done in rupees, rubles, renminbi. I've lost count. So, you know, there comes a tipping point where it starts backfiring, and I think this is one of those. I don't know how the euro and the pound. I mean, I don't know how all these governments are going to explain that away in the coming month. I think a lot of them are not going to be here next year. You know, like this time next year. And I'm not like mocking anyone or something. I'm just saying that they really screwed up, and like I think people in the West don't even understand what is happening. They're so conditioned with this like 10 minutes of hate, you know, like, oh, fuck Putin, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, whatever. Who gives a fuck, man? Yeah. Do you understand what that means? You look at your energy bill? Did you look at the prices in the grocery store? Are you stupid? Like, did you not, you know, put 2 and 2 together? Oh shit! Right after we sanctioned Russia, my bills started going up. And by the way, to be fair, they were going up before. Remember that. Back in November, October, there was already, you know, in the US and in Europe, prices were going up. So it's not just about this war. But, you know, you've got a fire, you don't go and throw gasoline on it. That's what pisses me off, is these politicians, they don't even learn or experience. And I'm not saying I want them to like suffer or have not be able to pay their bills. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is that they don't even grasp what their decisions are doing to the average Joe. That's what's really, you know, disgusting. Just want to say thank you to Asha for the donation on PayPal. You're very kind. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you're new here, consider subscribing, because this is I don't know what Claudia is typing to me, but we are now at 860 subscribers on Patreon. So we're just 40 subscribers away, and we will hit the goal. So again, that's one way you can support the show, and I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're new here and you want news about the Middle East, about U.S. politics, about the Iran nuclear deal, Julian Assange, this is the spot, and the only spot or shall I say one of the only spots, because we're getting fewer and fewer, unfortunately, the way these big tech companies are operating. But inshallah, we'll stick around and stay strong, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. You're very kind, and I'll see you guys next time. Claudia has been very generous and put all the links to the PayPal, Patreon below. And of course, if you want to buy the merch, that's also store.richardmedhurst.com. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Ma'asalama. Bye-bye. I'll see you next time. And share the videos. Educate people. Show them something. Open their eyes. Maybe you end up convincing them and persuading them. We have to deprogram the masses. In the last couple of months, you've seen them sanction Russia, and what has that done? It's driven the value of the ruble up, the euro and the dollar are down. Russia has made even more money than it was making before, because the Europeans are still buying the oil. The rest of the world is still buying the oil, and the price of oil and the price of gas have gone up. So even if Russia's selling less oil and less gas, the fact that the price has gone up means that Russia's making more, there's more revenue, okay? So they've come up with a new plan. This is their new brilliant plan. The crude cap applying from December 5th, and the refined products to follow from February 5th, 2023. If you want to go and move Russian oil, you need to get a ship, and you need to get that ship and the cargo insured. The idea is that they will refuse to move your Russian oil unless you bought it at a price per barrel that is below this threshold. I can already tell you one thing: the Chinese are never going to go along with this price cap. A price cap on Russian oil without the price of oil skyrocketing. It's just not happening, man. The EU now wants to replace Russian gas with Israeli gas, right? There's nothing better than some stolen Lebanese gas. And the Israelis are trying their best to block the nuclear deal because, if sanctions are lifted on Iran, Iran is free to sell its oil and gas. Remember, Iran has the biggest gas reserves in the world after Russia. And what do the Israelis do? They straight up just send a giant ship to start extracting the gas. I mean, this thing is a behemoth. Nasrallah, who is the Secretary General of Hezbollah, he threatened them that if they extract any gas before they solve the maritime border dispute, there's going to be a huge response. If Israel messes with Lebanon and starts extracting gas before this issue has been resolved, they're going to strike the Israeli gas rigs. And no company is going to want to come anywhere near that because it's a war zone then. Let me show you this opinion piece I found in The Guardian. The ruble is soaring and Putin is stronger than ever. Our sanctions have backfired. Wow, you don't say. Took you 5 months to realize that? Western sanctions against Russia are the most ill-conceived and counterproductive policy in recent international history. The reality of sanctions on Russia is that they invite retaliation. Putin is free to freeze Europe this winter. He has slashed supply from major pipelines such as Nord Stream 1 by up to 80%. The chief beneficiary is none other than Russia, whose energy exports to Asia have soared, driving its balance of payments into unprecedented surplus. Man, seriously, did I not say exactly all of this months ago? Perhaps after all, we should stick to war. I don't agree with everything in this article, but the premise that sanctions have failed, absolutely. I mean, this was clear from the beginning, man. They're attacking India again for buying Russian oil. Now, again, think of how the United States and the West are. They thought, okay, we're going to sanction Russia, and then Russia's economy is going to be destroyed. And now Russia is moving more amounts of oil towards the east than it did before, and India is buying this up at a discount. The Ukrainian foreign minister, look what he says to India. He says that every barrel of Russian oil delivered to India has quote-unquote Ukrainian blood on it. They're shipping Russian oil to the United States via India. They just send it to India, and then in India they mix it in with something else, right? So chemically speaking, it's not exactly 100% the same as it came in from Russia. Western European countries and the United States, they want to go lecture India for buying the same oil as them. The West still consuming Russian oil, and then they have the nerve to lecture India for doing the same. Europe needs a gas supplier. Israel, I mean, no matter what it wants to do, it's not just about the money. Let me explain this, man, because the Israelis, they don't, for them, it's not that they need the money desperately like Lebanon. They want people to legitimize them, to validate them.